Okay, we'll get going. So welcome everybody. Nice to see all of you here today. So if you wish to switch on your camera, then you're welcome to do that. If you would rather keep the camera off, then that's fine as well, of course. We are delighted this evening once again to have with us François Lorin. I'm sure that many of you know François. He has been practicing yoga since 1960, studied with Desikachar, and of course was the translator for Desikachar at the Zinal Congress, followed Krishnamurti's talks for many years as well. And he is here this evening to talk to us about karma. In his description, he said he was coming very much in questioning mode, which sounds ideal. And he would be very pleased if you would ask any questions as we're going along. So rather than keeping your questions until the end, if any burning questions come up you would like to ask, then you can put your hand up or use your virtual hand to put your hand up, and I'll keep an eye on the screen. You can also use the chat if anybody's not too sure about the speaking out in the session and you want to use the chat, then please feel free to do that, and I'll also try and keep a look on the chat. But for the moment, I think we're just going to get going. So François is going to be speaking maybe for an hour or so. We'll see how it goes. And obviously, depending on how many questions and how much exchange there is, we'll be here maybe an hour and a half or so, but we'll see how it goes. Over to you, François.
Thank you, Joy, and welcome to everyone. You see, it cuts my
Yes, sorry. Go ahead.
chat.
Yeah, go ahead. It should be okay now. Sorry.
Okay, so thank you, Joy, and welcome to every one of you. And I hope you will be forgetful of my bad English, but I try to speak clearly. Well, the theme is karma, and karma in Sanskrit means action. It comes from the root kri, to do, to act. And Bhagavad Gita in the fourth chapter, in the Sloka 5, says, "For no one remains inactive even for a single moment. Everyone is compelled to act despite themselves by the three gunas." I suppose all of you know what are the three gunas, but I just try to explain in case you are not familiar with it. In the Sankhya philosophy, which Patanjali chose to select for its own view on yoga, nature, prakriti, is the combination of three energies or forces that work together but also fight each other. And all phenomenons, everything that is alive or that is an element without life in the universe, is a combination of the three gunas according to this point of view of the Sankhya. So the points important in this quote is that whether we like it or not, we cannot remain without acting. Even if we do not act with the body, who can say that it can or she can stop the heart beating, which is an action of the body, or the mind thinking, which is an action too? So maybe it's possible to remain without physical action for a little while, but soon thirst or hunger will make us move again. So that is an obvious aspect of life, that action is inevitable. Now, my questioning starts from that because action, usually we consider that the origin of action is our own desires, our own thinking processes, and our own hopes, fears, and so on, that make us act. And the question is it so? Is it really so? Sorry. So I have selected a number of quotes, mostly from the Bhagavad Gita, but I just want to remember that in the Yoga Sutra of Patanjali, in the fourth chapter, there is a very interesting statement, which is it is the Sutra number 7 in the fourth chapter. The action of the yogi is neither white nor black. For others, action is of three kinds, neither white nor black. That refers to previous explanations in the second chapter about how our actions will create consequences, and white action creates positive consequences, and black actions creates negative consequences. And anyone except the yogi will, in its action, either create positive or negative consequences according to the action, whether it is white or whether it is black, or whether it is a mixture of white and black. It's never gray. It's not a mixture of white and black that gives a gray action. It means that some action will have more of a white nature, a virtuous nature, and or others will have more of a black quality. Like, for instance, you want to help someone to cross the road because she or he is a blind person. And while you guide the person to cross the road, you crush an ant that is walking by. You didn't have the intention to maim the ant, but it actually happens. That will be an example of a little black action in a white action. This is the way it is usually thought about. But for me, what is important is the affirmation that the yogi, his action is neither white nor black. That means, is it possible to act without creating consequences? While we see around us that any action, it seems to be, will create some consequences. So the purpose of this talk is to try to clarify the situation about what the Chinese, the Taoists call the Wei Wu Wei, the action without acting, or what the Bhagavad Gita says about what is action, what is right action, what is wrong action, and what is non-action, which is the case of the yogi, as Patanjali states in the fourth chapter. So we have to ponder about the nature of action, the origin of action, and the consequences. And above all, who is acting? Now, I have the feeling I am the one acting because I am talking, and more so because English is not my language, so I have to find my way to express what I want to say, in spite of the fact that it is not my native tongue. But why am I in the position to give a talk on karma? So if I look back, I could say that is my relationship with the European Yoga Union, because I was there when it was created. I was the translator of Tekave Deshikacha when he was invited by Gerard Blitz, who invited him to help him to create the first teacher training program at the time in the 70s. And maybe this is just a continuation. but I can go further back and wonder why I choose such a teacher as Tekave Deshikacha, and that's why I came to Zinal in the 70s to accompanying him. What made me select that teacher and not, for instance, his uncle Iyengar that I met before in Bombay in the 60s, in 63 actually, and so on. I can trace back, but there is no definite answer. It seems that a lot of different causes create a situation in which you discover yourself acting as if from your own choice, but completely conditioned by many things that make this event happen. So yoga seems to insist or propose that we can be the actors of our lives and that we are supposed to select the right action instead of the wrong one, the white one instead of the black one. But is it really so? Do we really have the choice to be what we are and to do what we do? Or is it another source of action that is working through us? For a long time, I thought I was the actor. Uh, I had the free will to decide I will go to India or I will not go to India. I will stay 6 months or I will stay 3 months. I will ask the Shikachar to study only asanas, or I asked him to study also Yoga Sutra. All this was coming from my own will and desire. But today, I have a very different point of view with regard to action. So, the first quote I would like to give you is one from the Bhagavad Gita again, because it is the text I am going to use mostly. It's from the third chapter, the chapter called in Sanskrit Karma Yoga Ha Adhyaya Ha, the lesson on the Karma Yoga, the yoga of action. And it is the shloka 27. So in English, everywhere the powers of nature, gunas, perform all works, but deluded by the sense of I, man thinks I am the doer. So it points out in the direction of nature, the three gunas, being the core actor, because each one of us is born with what the Bhagavad Gita calls later on, I will quote also something about that, calls swabhava, specific nature. And this nature is a specific combination of gunas. And because of this specific combination, we are obliged to act according to this nature. We think we are the driver of the car, but actually it's more like an automatic a car driven by someone else than myself. And this is difficult to accept for a Westerner because we have been told that we have free will and that we can choose and decide. If we could decide the way we are born with such and such qualities or defects, maybe we would have the free will to decide to act in one way or the other. But it seems that nobody can really select the characteristic of his own being. We discover it as we go along. And maybe some of these aspects will disturb us and we try to change them. And we make a lot of strife in order to change something that we decide is not right, or we believe it is not right because the human society says it is not right. And we condemn people having some form of behavior that is not propitious for the rest of the society, human society, or for nature, or for animals. So the question I would like you to put to yourself is that, do you feel you really have some form of free will? Nike says no, with the head movement. Anyone? You all believe you are the one who decides, for instance, the thought that is coming in your mind right now, or you discover the thought that comes in your mind right now as it comes, and then you can ponder and wonder why this thought has come, and you may find a reason, but it is a very limited understanding of the origin of this thought. The thought itself being the cause of the action that will follow the thought. If the thought says, for instance, "Whew, it's boring what he's saying, I'm cut my mic and cut my camera and just leave out." This is something that happens through many other causes than our own choice, our own desire, our own will. But to accept that demands a form of trust, trust in life, because Patanjali said in the second chapter, I remind you, that prakriti, the nature, has two purposes. One purpose called bhoga, which is to create experiences so that that which is the real within each one of us can taste all the, say, the taste of life, all the perfumes, all the pains also, and the conflicts and the joys, so as to start seriously investigating what is all this mess about. And then the second aim of prakriti can be met, called abhyasa, which is to go beyond experience to discover freedom, which is, according to Patanjali and all yoga books, absolute freedom. A dimension of ourselves that is free from the conditioning that comes from the three gunas. Now, obviously,
François, can I just interrupt? Lorena had something maybe to ask you, so I don't know if that now is a good time for
okay,
her to
sure.
come in. Lorena, just come in.
Rowena,
Ready?
yes. But Mike, okay.
Hi, thank you. I was wondering, could we perhaps decided what we want to experience as a soul? Because then you also have like some kind of influence on the prakriti, and then you do have a free will.
Now, if you have realized that you are not the body and not the mind, but you are what you call the soul, well, yoga calls it Atman or self rather than soul, that is fine. Then you are free. Then you have realized the aim of yoga, yes. But I am speaking at my own level as more or less convinced that this body is me and this mind is me. And as a mind and as a body, I more and more clearly see that I have no freedom. I am completely conditioned. Now, the journey of the soul, or the journey of the self, or the journey of whom I am really is a different story. We'll come slowly to it through the other quotes that I have selected. But I start with the situation of most people that come to yoga. People come to yoga because they believe that yoga will help them, but on which in which dimension? On the dimension of suffering of the body and suffering of the mind. And I am more and more doubtful that yoga can really help. It helps to some extent. It helps to take some distance with regard to suffering, but it will not help us to get rid of the suffering of the body, because the body is made of opposite feelings, sensations, perceptions, reactions, and the mind also. So it's a constant movement to and fro from one aspect to the other. And maybe with the help of the quality of presence, of attention, awareness in English, right? The movement becomes a little less and becomes more bearable to hopefully, because it does not, again, belong to us to decide whether it will work or not. Something else is at work. But it seems that through the practice of yoga, something quietens down and becomes more peaceful than it used to be. But it will continue to have this movement from one to the other aspect of life, pain and pleasure. I don't want to go in all the dvandas, in all the pair of opposites that yoga quotes. So the next quote, which goes in the same direction from the Bhagavad Gita, is in the 5th chapter. And the 5th chapter is called Karma Samnyasa Yogaha Adhyayaha, the lesson on the yoga of the action of renunciation. So it is really linked to the theme of Zinal next summer, this summer, because vairagya is one word for detachment, but it is very close to samnyasa, which is renunciation. And in this chapter, the shloka 14 says, in regard to all beings in this world, the Lord is the English translation of Prabhuhu in Sanskrit, which actually is right. In regard to all beings in this world, the Lord is not the cause of the sense of agency. As François, I still have by moment the feeling that the agency comes from me. The sense of agency comes from me. I am the one who is acting, who is doing the talk right now. But the Lord is not the cause of this sense of agency. The Lord is not the cause of actions, nor of the fruition of actions. It is the nature of beings, the Swabhava I was talking about, that does all this. So, you spoke, Rowena, about the soul and its own journey towards freedom. This journey is not taking place really within the field of the body and of the mind. It is the field of the soul. And what is the field of the soul? When I look within, at moments, I perceive that I am the awareness that is aware of the thinking, that is aware of the perceptions, that is aware of the sensations, that is aware of the conditioning, I am the doer. And the journey of the soul finally is to come back to the situation that Patanjali describes as being the drashtre, that which sees. And what is the difference between the Lord, Prabhu, and that which sees? That is, again, a question that we have to put to ourselves. And Patanjali, of course, gives a clue when he says the second way to access yoga is Ishvara Pranidhana, to recognize that we don't have the power and that we have to bow before the power, that which holds or beholds the power. Ish means the power, and Vara means to possess, that which possesses the power. And when I was young student with the Shikachar, he himself had said to his father, teach me yoga, but don't speak about Ishvara. I am not interested. I am interested only in helping people to be better in their lives. And I myself also was very reluctant to consider anything like a superior power, because I had seen in my own youth how religion, as it is taught in France, is destructive of freedom and of intelligence as well. So I was completely close to that aspect of the quest of yoga. But the more I grow old, and it seems that it is very common, the more I believe this is the essential part of yoga. And this is what Krishnamacharya used to say. He said, abhyasa and vairagya, both together, are just a preparation to help people to come to the point when they can accept, to surrender to that which has the power and which governs or creates or animates life. So far, I just stopped to see if any one of you has a question before I continue. I must say my personality is very unhappy with the fact that I have been thinking for so many years that it will never happen to me, that I will come to put in the first position Ishvara, because I was very reluctant. I saw around myself, sorry, people who were completely mistaken by their belief in God. It was a kind of very cheap way of getting rid of some form of anguish or fear in a very cheap way, yes. And this will not satisfy me at all. But now I've started feeling the situation differently, because the strength of the egotistic aspect of my personality has been diminished. I don't know if it is the practice of yoga. I don't think so. I think it is more like a maturity that comes with simply the experiences of life, when you see the vanity of most human endeavors, including my own, as a yoga teacher, for instance. So, the Bhagavad Gita continues in the chapter 13. Also, I decided to have the Bhagavad Gita to you say these things. So the chapter 13 is the Kshetrajna Vibhaga Yogaha Adhyayaha. The lesson about the yoga of the discrimination or distinction between the field and the knower of the field. So it's the way of the Bhagavad Gita to speak about the prakriti and the purusha. In the Yoga Sutra, it is used mostly with the terms prakriti and purusha. Prakriti is the field, purusha is the knower of the field, and vibhaga is very much like viveka in the Yoga Sutra, is the capacity to discriminate between the one and the other. So again, in this chapter, Shloka 29, Krishna says to Arjuna, he is the real seer who perceives that Prakriti alone is doing all works and that the self, Atman, is not acting at all. Not acting at all. Not acting at all. Not even trying to fulfill a journey. This is the point of view of the Bhagavad Gita, but also of the Sankhya. The soul is only, it can be compared to the wave of the ocean, in the ocean, or it can be compared to uh, I don't know the English term for a single piece of fire leaving the main fire. How do you call that in English? Sorry.
You mean like a spark or?
A spark, yes, right,
Yeah.
thank you. It can be compared to a spark because actually the soul is not, in my understanding at least, in the same built of the same stuff in the same way as our sense of being I. The soul is only a limited awareness, but not that awareness is limited, it is limited only by the vehicles in which the awareness stands. That means limited by the capacity of the body and of the mind, and especially, even more so, the capacity of the intelligence, the buddhi. So when the spark, single spark, that is within any one of us quits the vehicle, it has not any specific remnants of so and so, François or Joy or any one of you. It is exactly of the same nature of what the Bhagavad Gita calls the Lord. There is no difference. There is no personal soul. Contrarily to the Christian faith, the Atman is Brahman. There is no difference. The difference is only the time when we are caught in the vehicles, body-mind. No question about that? Or objections? Okay. And the chapter, the most important one, according to me, the chapter 18, the last one. The last one is called Moksha Samnyasa Yogaha Adhyayaha. The yoga of the renunciation leading to freedom, moksha. Now, in this chapter, I have selected 3 shloka. The first one, shloka 18, is a bit technical, but it explains how in India in the past they saw the components of action. Knowledge, object of knowledge, and knower. These constitute the threefold incitement to action. I don't know, incitement, if I pronounce it correctly, incitement maybe. That means that which starts any action is the combination of knowledge, that means something that is reached through means of information, the senses, for instance, but also the understanding. Object of knowledge, because if there is no object, probably there is no action, or the action is only mental, there is no physical action. And the knower. And the knower is the aspect the most difficult to realize, because I suppose most of you, at least I do, still believe at times that I am the doer. François is the doer. This body-mind is the doer, is the talker. It has to, for that individual to understand he is not the actor, that individual has to stop and watch and listen, and then something realize that the thinking and the doing is not from that personality. It comes through prakriti and further away than prakriti, we'll see in the next shloka. So these are the three incitement to action. And the three constituents of actions are the instrument, the action, and the agent. The instrument, for instance, is the wheel of the potter, through which the potter makes a pot. The action is the fact that with the stick, because in India, if you have been in India, the whole system of potters is a wheel that is put in motion with a stick. There is an encroachment, and with the stick, each time the wheel turns, the potter gives a new incitation to turn. So this is the action of the agent, and the agent, of course, is the potter. So when I say the instrument is the wheel, it's the wheel, but also it is the clay, because a wheel without clay or a clay without wheel, you cannot make a pot really. Or at least you can make a pot without a wheel, but not without clay. So it is the instrument includes the clay and the wheel in the example I give. Okay. Like in the case of a talk, the instrument is the tongue and the mouth, but also the lungs and the throat, the vocal cords, but also the mind, the memory, but also the understanding that has selected a certain number of quotes and use these quotes to try to come to a point with regard to action, to karma. And the action is the talk itself, and the agent. Is it me? Is it not me? Is it going through me, happening through me? I am just a vehicle through which it happens? Hopefully. Hopefully it's not just François' madness that speaks. So that was the shloka 18, and then the same chapter, the shloka 47. One's own dharma. Difficult to translate dharma, but as a trial, I use the word destiny, because in the swadharma, the personal dharma, swadharma, there is the idea that we don't have so much the choice about our actions. They are determined by our birth, by our parents, by the society in which we live. It's not the same system in democratic countries and in the past in India with the caste system. But anyhow, whether we live in a democratic country or in Russia or China or in past of India, our Dharma is somewhat written in a way, not completely written. There is a part of improvisation, but we cannot really escape some of the factors that make us act and think as we do. So one's own destiny, even if imperfect or imperfectly done, more exactly, is better than the well-performed destiny of another. That means I look around and I see, a great Indian yoga teacher. Well, I can go back to my younger years when I was considering that there was only one valid yoga teacher, and it was Deshikacha, and I was trying to be him. I was trying to mimic him, to do and speak like him, to teach like him. This is to take the destiny of another, and even if I could do it perfectly, this shloka says, one's own destiny, even if imperfectly done, is better than the well-performed destiny of another. For no sin is incurred by one doing works according to one's own nature, svabhava. Now, I take an example in France. Maybe some of you have heard about Michel Vaujour. No? No? Michel Vaujour was a gangster. He attacked banks and so on, but with a fake handgun. He never used a weapon, a real weapon. And he was quite successful until one day he was shot in the head by a policeman. And well, he didn't die, he was just hurt, and he was treated, and he ended in jail. And he spent quite some time in the part of jail where you don't meet other people, you are in seclusion completely. And in this jail, there was a small hole in the wall through which a ray of light would come through. And spontaneously, he has never heard about yoga or anything like that, he started fixing this light. And suddenly he started realizing things about his own life, about his own way of behavior. And one of the ladies that was in love with him, because he was a very a nice person, learned to drive a helicopter. I don't know if you say drive for a helicopter. And she succeeded to take him during one of the time when he was allowed to go out in the place where they could go for walk, to take him out of the jail. But he was caught back and back again in seclusion. But something had changed in him really deeply. Then the second lady is advocate. No, you don't say advocate in English.
His lawyer.
His lawyer fell in love with him and started learning how to drive an helicopter. And she tries also to save him. But she was caught, and I think she's still in jail. But since he had done his time, now he's a free man. And he wrote a book, Don't Liberate Me, I Do It Myself. And he is really very interesting man to watch and listen. He was invited by Arnaud Desjardins some years back, and it's very funny to hear a theoretical knowledge coming from Arnaud Desjardins, from his teachers, Swami Prajnapada, and so on, a very intellectual kind of arguments and explanations. And here, Vaujour, who speaks right from the deep understanding of what is freedom and how to come to freedom. So this man now, I don't know what happened to him, but it means that sometimes you have to become a gangster before you can free yourself from the bonds that yoga is supposed to help us to get rid of. And I have still a little time for the last shloka, the shloka 61 in the same chapter. And I really love it because to me it opens a possibility to really say yes to what is happening in my life, whether it is pleasant or unpleasant, whether I feel limited or on the opposite, I feel rather free. And this shloka says, the Lord, here the Lord is Ishvara, so it's a different word than Prabhu. Ish, the power, Vara, that which owns the power. The Lord dwells in the heart of all beings, revolving them all by his mysterious power. The translator says mysterious power for the word Maya. Maya, you know, the root ma means to think, ma means to have a kind of magic way of deluding the thinking process of people. And Maya is this power of illusion or delusion that the Lord used to revolve all beings as if they were mounted on a machine. Imagine, in the manège. I don't know, you say manège in English, sorry.
Like
Maybe Troy will help me.
a roundabout.
A roundabout,
Oh, yeah.
is it? Where children go, with horses and boats and so on. Well, so the Bhagavad Gita says we human beings are like children on this machine. Once it starts revolving, there is no choice than just to let it turn until it stops turning. But either you fight or you fear, you hold the bar because you don't want to be revolving like this, especially now it turns very fast. Or you just smile and say, okay, it's not in my hands, I just have to let it be. And then I think you come close to what yoga suggests when Patanjali says Ishvara Pranidhana. So it seems to me that yoga is a journey from the belief that I am the actor and I have to act well. And yoga will help me to act well, not to do wrong things to others, and so on and so on. And then I fight in order to reach this capacity to act properly, and I fail. At times I succeed, but when I am in a really serious situation, I realize that violence is still within me, that fear is still within me, that my limits are still there, until I realize all this is not me. I am like a little child on a, how do you say again, a roundabout? A roundabout. It's funny. I wouldn't have not used that word for a manège, but okay. I am in a roundabout, and my only destiny is to go with the roundabout until it decides to stop. And it is not through opposition, but through acceptance that the roundabout maybe will open up to this situation that yoga suggests as the end of the journey and the end of the story, which is moksha, freedom, or kaivalya, solitude, the solitude of the soul. There is a very nice book written by a French author called Steve Jourdain. He was half American, half French, half Indian, Lakota by his mother and French by his father. Steve Jourdain, he wrote a book called La bienheureuse solitude de l'âme. Alors, bienheureuse, the blessed solitude of the soul. Because the spark, the soul, is alone as long as it is caught in the vehicles. But the moment it frees itself, it is freed from the vehicles, it is again alone, but alone as the one that encompasses everything. This is the beauty of the Indian tradition, is that already in the first expressions which come from the Vedas, there is a very strong understanding or realization that each one of us, but also each blade of grass, each animal, each planet, each drop of water is coming from the same source and is the same source. I just, if you allow me, read a section of the Chandogya Upanishad, one of the first Upanishad. It is the second section and the sixth chapter, and it is entitled Brahman, Cause of the Universe. So it is the father addressing to his son. In the very beginning, dear boy, there was only being, Sat, and only it, without a second, non-dual. On this point, some say in the very beginning there was only nothingness, and only it without a second. From this nothingness emerged being. The father continued, dear boy, by what logic in truth can being emerge from nothingness? But surely in the beginning all this was being, and only it without a second. This being had a vision. I will become a multitude. I will generate offspring. And he created fire. Fire had a vision. I will become a multitude. I will generate offspring. And he created water. This is why when one suffers from heat and sweat, it comes from the internal fire. Water is undeniably produced by heat, and so on, so on, continue. So from the one only, all things are created one by one, but they are all part of this one. So this is what speaks to me very much today, and I wanted to share it with you. Whether it helps you or not, I don't know, but to me it's very important. And let us say we have still time, isn't it? Yes. So do you have any comments or questions about these quotes? And
If anybody would like to ask a question or make a comment, then just obviously you could just open up your microphone if you want to, or put your hand up.
or practical questions, because this was not at all oriented towards practical questions, and maybe you have some.
Yeah.
Yes, Nike.
Nike.
or Nike, I don't know how you
Nike.
pronounce.
Yeah, Nike.
I don't hear you. Can you speak a little
Can you
louder?
hear me now?
Yeah.
Okay. I try and ask my question because I'm trying to figure out how to ask it.
Sure.
So I understand Atman, I understand Brahman, I understand that our soul is just parked in our body and then it leaves again. So that everything is, but we're just a manifestation. Our body mind is a manifestation, a current manifestation. But why do we have to exist? Like, why are we, what's the benefit of having such a conditioned mind and body that then leaves us with all this struggle to come back to the source?
If I have understood rightly the question, it reminds me of a sutra in the fourth chapter where Patanjali says we cannot trace back to the origin of our conditionings. That means where our mind and bodies come from, because the origin of everything is, and the word is used only one time in the Yoga Sutra, because of the original eternal desire of the one to become the many. That means it comes back to what I read last, the idea that the one want to experiment or feel what it is to be many, a multitude. I don't know why, but there is something that has come on the.
I'm not quite sure. Bogdan, if you started screen sharing, maybe you could stop.
Well, I continue anyhow. So it is not for the benefit of anyone. I mean, it's not because this is very common that people believe, and in India too, that we are on a journey and that at the end of the journey, eventually we will succeed and reach some freedom or state. This is the point of view of the individual that is still identified with the body and the mind, and maybe with a separate soul, as a soul belonging to that person and to that person only. But actually, the idea is that we are just the expression of the creativity of the one that expresses itself through the multiplicity of beings. And for this, according to the Bhagavad Gita and the Sankhya, the one uses the prakriti. That is, what is prakriti for us today? It is the laws of nature. Whether you practice yoga or not, I doubt that one day you will levitate in the air, because human beings have learned how to use the power of engines to fly in the sky. But still, the laws of gravity apply. You have to do with these laws. So the nature has created is the factor that creates laws, but the nature and the laws that it creates all come from originally the desire of the one to know the multiplicity of events and experiences. And each one of us is like a terminal, you say also in English? Like a screen on which a story is happening, but there is only one seer that is watching all the different stories and who is enjoying the different stories and who is playing the game of all the different stories. Something of that kind, according to what I have understood at least.
So I should take pleasure in amusing it.
Yes, you are on a fantastic machine, making you revolving in pain and pleasure, high and low, deep and up in the sky. Of course, you have to cry at times, you have to shout at times, you have to fight at times, but all this is the play of life. And either you resist or you enjoy. You can enjoy even the pain. Not maybe as much as the pleasant things, but if the understanding is there, it it makes the pain different. Not so, there's no consequences, there's no fear. There is no worry about what will happen. Anyhow, we all know we are going to die as body and mind. So why not enjoy? As long as we are still alive as body and mind. Maybe there is truth in the idea of several lives. This I don't know. It would be very pretentious to say, I know there is no other life than this one, or I know there is other lives than this one. But it is possible because the desire of the one to experiment through the multiplicity of beings and things can possibly continue to use the specific energies created by prakriti as so and so, such and such, in different forms. Both Hinduism and Buddhism and other religions also state the fact that several lives are the truth. Doesn't change anything. Not really.
Does anybody else want to ask or comment on anything that François has said? You talked, François, about oh, sorry, Karen, you come in. Go ahead.
Karen?
François, thank you very much for that. I am in agreement with you about the more mature years. I'm in my 70s now, and your attitude towards Ishvara Pranidhana. Mine was very similar to yours and to Jessica Chard's, that, no, I don't want anything to do with this. When I started studying yoga, having had bad experiences as far as organized religion was concerned. But over the years, as I've learned more and more, and some of it has been via yoga, some of it has been through life experience. Like you, I've become convinced that there is something there. I don't know what, I couldn't give a name to it, but that we are not in control. So thank you for
Not to give any
affirming
name.
that.
Thank you. It's better to give not to give any name, because a name shapes is a shape, and this is shapeless. When you watch yourself as that which is aware, there is no form. You watch the body in the mirror, there is a form. You watch the thinking process in your mind, there are forms. But when you listen to that which listens, or you are aware of that which is aware, there is no shape, there is no form. It's like, that's why they use the example of space. When you are in a room, you see objects, you see a ceiling, you see a floor, you see walls and windows, and inside a lot of objects, but you don't see the space because the space has no shape. It is only limited by objects that creates, it seems, a limited space. But the space itself you cannot see because it has no limit, no quality. So it's just an example. Awareness, consciousness, that which we are, which is made of the same stuff as the Lord, is shapeless, formless, limitless, nameless. It's only less. It's not more. Because we all want to possess something, something solid. And this sense of possessiveness has to go. The only safe place in the world is an empty place where there is no security, no frontiers, no borders, a seamless world, a world without any stitch that limits the cloth. The cloth is extended. It's not a cloth, it's just an image. Without limit. It's not a cloth with sleeves and no, it's one piece. One piece, and you can write it both ways, Piece or Peace, one piece.
Okay, we
No practical question?
practical
How
question.
to do the Padmasana posture, or how to practice Nadi Shodhanam, or
Yeah.
how to reach the Nirbija Samadhi, or yeah, I'm glad that you have no question because I will not be able to really answer them.
But what you were saying, François,
Yes.
about you talked about the vanity of most human endeavors, and you were talking about your skepticism about yoga really helping people with their physical and mental suffering. I think you put it that way. Um, it it's sort of the conclusion from that is really yoga teachers are more or less wasting their time, but I suppose it's quite a nice way to waste their time, perhaps.
No, they are not wasting their time because there is a magic. You know, the Maya is present in yoga in a very subtle way. When you teach, at least good teachers, not the one that now come to teach yoga just because they feel it's a easy way to maybe to earn money, but that's okay. They can do it. I don't mind. It's their problem. But if you have a concern about really helping people, you teach them in such a way that they start realizing how important it is to be attentive and give some respect to the body, be attentive and give some respect to the food, be attentive and give some respect to the breathing, and so on. And then slowly you start realizing that that which allows you to give respect to all these things comes from a form of intelligence that is deepened as you go along, even if in the beginning you don't understand and you don't see why, and you don't see the relationship between doing postures and breathing slowly and doing gently slow movements and so on. But at one moment or the other, it starts becoming an evidence. And more so when you discover that that which is aware, whether it is in the asanas or whether it is in the breathing, that which is aware is really you. And it comes at one moment. And then something is open that will never close down. So there is a link between the most simple aspects of yoga and the final outcome. But we cannot say, I decide to go to the end and realize. This is not our privilege. It may happen, it may not happen. If it doesn't happen, it doesn't matter. Because the vehicle, in any case, will have to end one day, and the soul is of such a nature that it is free now, it will be free later, and it was free forever. So the link between the soul and the vehicle is as the Sankhya says, it's a false link. You know, in the Sankhya they give the example. The link between the Purusha and the Prakriti is like a branch, prakriti, and one of these birds that flies so fast that you don't see his wings. I don't know how you call that in English. So at a distance, you have the feeling that the bird is on the branch, that the soul is in the prakriti. But no, it's only a mistake due to wrong distance of watching. Actually, there is never a contact between that which is of the spiritual nature within ourselves, the soul, to call it this way, and the laws of nature. It is something which may be difficult to accept or understand because it seems that they are connected, but the connection is only an illusion. It's again a trick, Maya. So yes, there is a great wisdom in the whole process. Well, we have to understand that the only defect that may happen in the teaching of yoga is to make people believe that they will succeed through their own will and endeavor rather than to help them to become aware from moment to moment to what is happening within themselves, in their body, in their minds, and in their soul if they have the chance to understand that there is such a thing as a spiritual entity that is themselves. So it's the key of yoga is the development of this awareness in action, in karma. And it is a slow learning process, but it starts from the beginning when you ask people to act slowly, be attentive, feel to which extent you can bend, to which length you can inhale or exhale. It is this quality of care and attention that will be the magician that liberates us from the magic power of Maya.
Okay. So if anybody would like to come in, we have just a couple more minutes probably. If you have a question you've been keeping and you'd like to ask it, or a comment or something you need to ask François, then please go ahead.
Otherwise, I think we have been on the machine turning. We have made quite a few turns.
Yep. Yep.
So it will continue turning. Maybe you will have some dreams this night or some sudden objection. You can always write to me, and if you are interested, I can send you the translation of the different quotes. You just have to write to me. Maybe I will write my mail address, or can you?
If you have things that you would like to share with people, François, you can send them to us, to the
Yes.
spirituality group. And when the recording goes out, because of course this has been recorded and it will go out to all of you and to all the people who signed up. So we can add, if you have any documents and a PDF maybe that you want to share, then that will also go with the recording. So you can listen again and see François' documents, the quotations that he's been referring to today.
Joy, you mean
So
I send you the documents?
Yes, if you have
Yes.
if you have things that you want to send to people, you could.
So those who want to have the documents, I can send it to you, and you will send them.
And we'll send them
Okay.
sort of centrally. It might be easier than you communicating with
all right.
everybody. It might be a little bit easier to do it that way. So if you just let us have anything that you would like to share with students, and hopefully in the next few days you'll get the recording so you can listen again, obviously. François will be back again tomorrow on the same topic in French. So if anybody is keen to listen to him in French, I'm sure it'll be the same, but also different, because it's always different a second time around somehow.
And the language also easier.
And we will have more talks. So there are some more talks coming up in June. We have several talks right through almost until the end of June, some in English, some in French, also Dutch, German. So depending on the languages that you speak, then there might be something there for you. And as usual, of course, if you can't be here live, you can always listen to the recording subsequently. So it's always worth signing up and listening to the recording. Apart from that, I think it just remains really to thank all of you for coming. Great to see you, and especially, of course, thanking François being here with us today and giving us the benefit of what he knows, what he's experienced about karma. So thank you all, everybody. Thank you, François, and see you all again soon, maybe. Thank you.
Thank you. Have a good evening and good night and good life. Bye.
Thank you. Bye.